Hi everyone, in this video I will be explaining you two important immunoassay technique. One is ELISA and the second one is radioimmunoassay. So regarding immunoassay, immunoassays are the method which utilizes the immune complex reaction or immune complex formation. So regarding the first one, that is ELISA. ELISA means enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So it is a type of immunoassay which uses enzyme immunoassay to detect the presence of an antigen or an antibody present in a sample fluid. So it is based on the immune complex formation. Immune complex means the complex of antigen and antibody, and this immune complex formation is highly specific reaction. So this test is highly specific and highly sensitive. So this ELISA test is used for the detection of hormone, growth factors, tumor markers, antigen and antibodies in any biological fluid. So why it is known as an enzyme linked immunosorbent assay? Because this ELISA test require an antigen. So the antigen present in the sample fluid. An antigen is identified by their specific antibody. So that will result in immune complex formation. So it is an immunoassay. And ELISA also uses a second antibody, that is known as labeled antibody or enzyme labeled antibody. That is the second antibody. And the fourth requirement is the color forming substrate. So the first antibody reacts with the antigen and produces immune complex, and the second antibody or the enzyme labeled antibody also binds to the same antigen, and we have to add a color forming substrate. So whenever there is a formation of immune complex, this color forming substrate produces specific color, and we are mainly using these enzymes. One is alkaline phosphatase and peroxidase. And this ELISA tests are performed in a microtiter plate, and these microtiter plates are known as ELISA plates, and it is made of polystyrene. And there are some depressions which are present in this ELISA plate. Around 96 depressions are there on the ELISA plate. These are known as wells. So this is the ELISA plate, and it is made of polystyrenes, and these depressed regions are known as wells. So we can use this ELISA technique for the detection of antigen or for the detection of antibody. So let's see the antigen detection by ELISA. And this test is also known as sandwich ELISA. So in antigen detection, we need an antibody for the corresponding antigen. So the inner surface of this microtiter plate is coated with this corresponding antibody. Now we have to add the test sample. The test sample contains the antigen. If the sample contains antigen, that antigen binds with this coated antibody. That will result in immune complex formation. Now we have to wash this microtiter plate to remove any unbound antigen from the ELISA plate. Now we have to add the second antibody, that is known as enzyme labeled antibody. This enzyme labeled antibody also binds to the same antigen. Now we have to add the color forming substrate, and the presence of an antigen is detected by the colored reaction, and the intensity of the color is directly proportional to the concentration of the antigen. So first of all, we have to coat the inner surface of the microtiter plate with the corresponding antibody. Now we have to add a patient sample, and this patient sample contains the antigen, and this antigen form immune complex with this primary antibody. Now we have to add the second antibody, that is known as enzyme labeled antibody. That is, these antibodies are coated with some enzyme, and this enzyme labeled antibody also bound to the antigen. And finally we have to add a color forming substrate. So if there is any immune complex, this color forming substrate produces enzymes. So the color produced is directly proportional to the concentration of the antigen. So here the antigen is sandwiched between two primary antibody. That's why it is known as sandwich ELISA. So the first antibody is coated on the inner surface of the ELISA plate, and the second antibody which is added after the addition of antigen, and this second antibody is known as labeled antibody because this antibody is labeled with some enzymes. And the first antibody is known as capture antibody, and the second antibody is known as detection antibody. The second one, that is detection of antibody by ELISA. For the detection of antibody, we have to coat the inner surface of this ELISA plate with the corresponding antigen. Now the sample containing antibodies are added, which will produce us immune complex formation. Now we have to add the second antibody, that is the enzyme labeled antibody, followed by the addition of this color forming substrate, which will produce a specific color. Here the intensity of the color is directly proportional to the antibody concentration. So for the detection of antibody, the inner surface of the ELISA plate wells are coated with their corresponding antigen. Now we have to add patient sample. If the patient sample contain antibody, that will form immune complex. Now we have to add the second antibody, that is the enzyme linked antibody. Once you add the color forming substrate, that will produce specific color. So let's see the advantages of this ELISA technique. And these reagents are relatively cheap, and these reagents have a long shelf life, and this technique is highly specific and sensitive, and there is no radiation hazard because we are not using any radioactive ingredient, and this technique is very easy to perform, and the equipment can be inexpensive, and it is widely available, and it can be used for a variety of infection. Coming to the disadvantages of this ELISA technique, the enzyme activity may be affected by the plasma constituents, and there may be some false positive or negative results, especially with some mutated antigen. So coming to the second type of immunoassay technique, that is known as radioimmunoassay. Drugs. Here we are using this immunoassay with the help of some radioactive isotope. So the principle of radioimmunoassay involves the competitive binding of a radio-labeled antigen and unlabeled antigen to a specific antibody. So we need to have a radio-labeled antigen, that is an antigen which is coated with some radioactive isotope, and we already have their specific antibody, and this antibody does not distinguish a radio-labeled antigen from unlabeled antigen. Unlabeled antigen means the antigen present in the test sample. So as the concentration of this unlabeled antigen, that is the antigen present in the test sample, increases, that will displace this radio-labeled antigen from the binding site of the antibody. So the displacement of this radio-labeled antigen is proportional to the concentration of the unlabeled antigen present in the sample. And after the incubation, we have to remove the supernatant solution, and we have to measure the radioactivity of the immune complex. So the basic principle is we have to use two types of antigen. One is radio-labeled antigen, the second one is normal antigen, that is the antigen present in the test sample. Both this radio-labeled antigen and labeled antigen compete with each other for binding with their corresponding antibody. So we need an antibody, radio-labeled antigen, and an unlabeled antigen which is present in the patient sample. So first of all, we have to take this antibody. The inner surface of that tube is coated with their corresponding antibody. Now we have to add radio-labeled antigen. So all these antibody binding sites are occupied by this radio-labeled antigen. So here all these antibody binding sites are occupied by the radio-labeled antigen. So if you measure this radioactivity, you will get 100% radioactivity because all these binding sites of these antibodies are occupied by the radio-labeled antigen. Now we have to add the test sample. The test sample contains unlabeled antigen, that is the normal antigen without having radioactive isotope. So when we add this unlabeled antigen, they also have the affinity to the same binding site. So this unlabeled antigen displaces some of the radio-labeled antigen. So here this antibody site, some of this antibody binding sites are occupied by the normal antigen, that is the unlabeled antigen present in the test sample. Here also we have to wash to remove this excess antigen, and we have to remove this supernatant solution, and we have to measure the radioactivity of the immune complex. So here the radioactivity of the immune complex is inversely proportional to the concentration of the unlabeled antigen. If the concentration of the unlabeled antigen is more, all these binding sites are occupied by the normal unlabeled antigen. So the radioactivity of the immune complex will be less. So if you plot a graph of this concentration of unlabeled antigen against this radioactivity, we will get a graph like this. Here the radioactivity of the immune complex, that is the precipitate, is inversely proportional to the concentration of the unlabeled antigen. Coming to the disadvantages of radioimmunoassay. The first disadvantage is it is highly expensive, and here we are using radioactive isotope. We are commonly using radioactive iodine, that is iodine 125, and this iodine 125 is having short half-life. It is around 60 days, and there is a exposure to radioactive isotope, that is radiation exposure, and it is a lengthy procedure. So these are the disadvantages of radioimmunoassay. So that's all regarding ELISA and radioimmunoassay. Thank you.